Well, how the turntables. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Mexican citizens in Mexico City complaining about Americans coming to Mexico City and gentrifying it, not speaking Spanish, only speaking English, just changing the whole vibe of the city. Now, this is very interesting because a lot of the same people that are complaining probably have relatives that came over illegally or legally, whatever the case may be, and they behave the same way. So why can't we as Americans go to Mexico and do the exact same thing that people from Mexico City or Mexico in general are doing in America? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say all Mexican immigrants, legal immigrants, I don't mean illegals. That's a whole different story. I'm not going to say that all legal immigrants from Mexico are going to behave that way, don't assimilate, don't speak English. No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that it does happen. I mean, certain parts of the country, if you don't speak Spanish, like you got to speak Spanish and English, but you got to speak Spanish. And if you don't, you're pretty much out of luck. Like go to Miami, everything's in Spanish. Go to LA, Spanish. You can speak English a little bit, but some people don't even really, they don't even bother to learn the language. But if I say something like that, then I'm a racist. Then I'm xenophobic. Then I'm hateful toward other brown people, right? But when they say it, it's okay. Now, let's go ahead and roll this clip. This will be also in the description, but we're going to get the full picture of what's happening right now in Mexico City.
This is what some Mexicans are calling modern colonialism. The heavy influx of Americans moving to Mexico City to take advantage of lower living costs. Other locals are calling it gentrification, a plague, or even an invasion.
Oh, wow. Look at that. A plague or an invasion. Now, remember, when we say things like this, especially when it comes to the southern border and the illegal aliens coming across, when we say plague or invasion, that's just straight up racist. It doesn't matter if you're Mexican yourself, if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. If you say something like that, you're a racist. But they can say it and it's totally fine. So maybe at a certain point, what they're saying could be correct and vice versa. What we're saying could be correct. But it can't be a double standard of they can do it and we can't. But let's keep on going.
What?
Behind you!
Oh my God!
You're thinking of moving to Mexico City? Wow. One simple recommendation. .com. Gentrification is the name of the game.
Critics say the flood of Americans has caused an increase in the cost of basic necessities for locals. Rent has more than doubled for some. This is not to mention that Mexico City residents already spend an average of 60% of their income on housing.
The same people moving are the same ones who complain when immigrants come to America.
Well, I mean, okay. If it's like that, then there shouldn't be no problem. Like, if I move to Mexico City and I complain about immigrants coming to America, then it should be looked at as me opening my eyes, opening my boundaries and not being, like it should be seen as a positive thing, right? But not a negative thing. And if it's seen as a negative thing, then you can't get mad at those who complain about immigrants coming. You got to be on their side.
And of course, natives are upset, as they should be.
Many Americans...
But I mean, are you Mexican, ma'am? I don't think so. You're just a regular black American. They're not gonna care. Like you in Mexico City, they have like you're not gonna be on their side. You're gonna be the same as any other American.
Of course, natives are upset, as they should be.
Many Americans moving to Mexico City are working remotely and still getting paid in US dollars. Some locals have benefited from increasing tourism, but for many, that doesn't balance out rising costs and inflation. Mexicans are also fed up with Americans ignoring cultural and social norms. And some complain that in certain places, English is more common than Spanish.
Oh, would you look at that? People coming to a different country that they are not from, speaking their native language, and that's a problem. Okay, now, do we not see that over here in the States? In the school system, you got kids speaking Farsi, Mandarin, Chinese, Russian, Ukrainian, Spanish, all types of languages, French. But again, when we complain about it, it's seen as racist. But when you're looking at a quote unquote brown country and they complain about it, then it's fine.
Spanish. Local businesses are being forced to shut down and replaced by cafes and Pilates studios.
People who live in Mexico City and people who work in Mexico City, including myself, we want to get a place, but it's really difficult because the prices are so high, and even with a good salary, it's very difficult. You're still bragging about how cheap it is and how it's not even like a quarter of your rent in LA, and it's messed up, right?
Well, hey, it is what it is. You know, the Californians are invading Mexico. That's crazy. But I mean, you can't really say you're surprised. Why be surprised? I mean, because here's the thing, right? The open border goes both ways, doesn't it? Now, I'm not saying they're coming there illegally, but understand what I'm trying to get at. The open border goes both ways. So if you guys can come from Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Africa, Europe, Asia, all over the world, through the border, unfettered, go wherever you want to go, get a free plane ride, get whatever, and that's fine. If you can do that and that's fine, then why can't I go to your country? You see what I mean? So this is what I'm talking about. People that want to, stump for illegal aliens, let them come in, let them stay, all this and that. Well, what if you go to their place of their home country? What if you have a bad situation at home? You coming from a poverty-stricken environment. You might live in a bad neighborhood, Chicago, New York, LA, and you want to escape to greener pastures. You want a better life for yourself, and you want to go Mexico City. How welcome will you be? Will you be welcome there because you don't speak Spanish? Oh, that's a problem right there. Got a little bit of money? That's a problem right there. You're a gentrifier. You're a colonizer. It doesn't even matter if you're white or whatever. If you're white, especially, that's a problem. So it's pretty crazy how that works. But I can't really say I'm surprised because this is a natural human thing. If you have a place where you live and things go a certain way, and all of a sudden one day you wake up and it's different, people are moving in, they're not abiding by the regular social norms and not speaking your language, it can be a problem. So I agree with them on that. But it's the same thing over here in the States. Okay, you living in a place, everything's one way. Like, for example, you living in California. You're speaking English, you're doing things a certain way, et cetera, et cetera. All of a sudden you wake up one day, half of the neighborhood doesn't speak English. You can't really communicate. You want to get a job. You're 16 years old, trying to be working at Sonic, working at Wendy's, Walmart, and you don't speak Spanish. Now you're out of luck. You can't even get a job. You're being replaced in your own hometown. You born and raised here, and you're being replaced. So, yeah, I understand the frustration. We've been saying that over here in the States for a very long time, especially right now with the border being wide open. Look at what's happening to these towns on the border. They're being inundated with just people that they can't take care of from all over the world. How can you communicate with people that speak Spanish, Mandarin, Farsi, Arabic, some random African languages? How are you going to communicate with these people? It's just too much going on. So I'm glad they're able to see where we're coming from on our side. That's fantastic. But I wonder how this will be received versus what we say all the time over on our side about the illegal immigration. Legal immigration, I'm cool with to a certain extent. I think if you come over here legally, if you're coming over to the States, you must adhere to certain principles. I think that should be a thing. And the same way, if you're going to Mexico or wherever you go, adhere to their principles. But before anyone can criticize Americans about doing stuff like this, then we need to have the same standards for those who are criticizing. You can't criticize Americans who are coming over to Mexico, not speaking the language, when the whole world comes to America illegally, unfettered, and don't speak the language. Okay, you're speaking Mandarin Chinese, don't care about learning English. Same thing with Spanish and everything else. You don't really care, and that's not really your problem until that gets addressed. I don't want to hear one word about us going to your particular country of origin. That's you guys. You guys are brilliant. But I don't want to hear anything about us going to anyone's country of origin and not speaking their language. Practice what you preach first. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about that video right there from AJ Plus about Americans going to Mexico City and gentrifying, not speaking the language, making the cost of goods, services go through the roof? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I stand. I think they have a right to feel that way, as does everyone else, regardless of what color you are, regardless of where you live, regardless of your status in life, if you're rich, poor, in between, whatever it is, you have a right to point out the obvious, and it shouldn't be dismissed as racism or white splain or whatever other kind of nonsense they want to label it. Just label it basic common sense, common knowledge. And until we can have that be across the board, I don't want to hear any complaints. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.